Well, hi friends, Rebecca here, the Dragon Librarian from Farmington Community Library, and Brill and I are here today to talk to you about some books that are just absolutely fantastic, but we're also here today to welcome you to 2023! Woohoo! That's right, we are in January now, we are in the first month of a brand new year, super exciting. We're just starting everything over, right? We're starting new reading lists. Maybe we're super excited to try a different genre or try a different author that we never had before. It's so many possibilities, right? In the beginning of a new year. I love having a clean slate to start over with my reading and find some new wonderful books. So because of that, I thought this would be a wonderful time to talk about the best books that I read in 2022. Now, this is a completely subjective list, right? So this is my opinion. They might not be my favorite books that I read last year might not be the same as the ones that you read last year, right? But if that's the case and I talk about these books and you're like, what? You didn't talk about so and so? I can't believe it. Send me an email. Come to the library. Talk to me about it. I want to hear about some of your favorite books. So, yes, this is a completely subjective list. Obviously, I have some that I absolutely love, and we're going to be spending some time talking about them in the next couple of weeks. And maybe that will help you if you're trying to figure out what to read, if you're looking for something new, but you don't really know where to start or what to do. Here are some really great ideas. Okay, so number 5. Today we're going to be talking about the top 5 books that I read in 2022. Okay, so we've got number 5, all right, which is Hold Still by Nina Lacour. Hold Still. Now, Nina Lacour has written a few books for young adults that are absolutely wonderful. She just came out with her first adult book this past year, which was also really good. But I read We're Not Okay and a couple of the other ones too. Hold Still is this one, obviously, and the best one that I think, but there's a couple other ones that are really good too. So she is an author that is absolutely phenomenal. I love the cover of this. It's so beautiful and simplistic, right? Now, this book is a book that is dealing with grief. Now, it's not very long, as you can see. I read it in one sitting. I blew through it. Heartbreaking book, but heartbreaking in the best possible way. Like, it's absolutely amazing. So, basically, this book is, it starts out in the beginning of summer, okay, with a girl named Caitlin, and she has just found out that her best friend Ingrid has killed herself. So this is a story of an entire year, starts in summer, goes through the rest of the year, and then ends with the following summer. And it's basically her coming to terms with this and healing, and how she can reconcile this situation and losing her best friend. What a horrible, just harrowing thing that somebody would have to deal with. But it's written in such a beautiful, poignant way. It just grabbed a hold of my heart and would not let me go. And I have been thinking about this book for months after I read it. So if you're interested in mental health issues, or even if you're not, even if you just want to read a really fantastic book that is beautifully written with great characters, Hold Still. Highly, highly recommend. Number 5 on that list. Number 4, right? Number 4 now. We're moving on. The Weight of Blood by Tiffany Jackson. Tiffany Jackson is an author that is now become my go-to read for young adult books. Anytime I know she's got a new book coming out, I will just run to pick it up because everything that I have read that she has written so far has been absolutely phenomenal, and this one is definitely her best one yet. So this is a modern retelling of the story of Carrie by Stephen King. Now, if you are not familiar with Carrie by Stephen King, it is basically the story of a white high school girl who gets bullied incessantly by her classmates, has a really abusive mom, and develops these telekinetic skills. She can move things with her mind. And on the night of prom, after a really, really terrible prank that is played on her, she goes on a rampage and murders like half the town with her powers. That's the original story, okay? It was written in the 70s, so I don't really think I needed to give a spoiler alert warning for that. So the really interesting thing about this retelling is it's modern day. So it's not taking place in the 70s or, a while back like the original story. It's being told now, but it's also being told through the lens of race. So the main character in this book is biracial. She's half black. And she has been forced to hide that fact from her classmates by her overbearing white father. So she's never known her mom. Her mom has been gone her whole life, but her father has raised her to be white and to basically never tell anybody that she is half black. And that goes okay until the day that it is exposed. It rains. She's caught out in the rain during gym class, and her natural hair, poofs up, and everybody now figures out that she is half black. And then they begin to terribly, terribly bully her, worse than they did before, because she was always kind of bullied, but even worse than she was before, because now they feel like she was hiding who she was and she was ashamed of it, which was not the case of all. It was she had no choice in the matter. So this town that she lives in is the southern town, and there is a really, really horrible group of students in this school, one of which who wears blackface for Halloween, pretending to be the main character, which just, oh my God, it was so horrible to read about. Social media picks up on it. The town starts to get really scrutinized, and then they all decide that they're going to have a prom with everybody, because before that, they literally had segregated proms. Yes, in this year and day and age, there are still segregated proms that happen. Unbelievable. So they decide to have a fully a prom with everybody invited, and this really popular white girl who has a black boyfriend convinces the boyfriend, why don't you take her to prom? Because then that will show solidarity and it will be just a really nice thing. She's probably never had a good time before. And he's like, all right, this is weird, but okay. They start to talk and hang out. They start to grow close. And then on the night of prom, something absolutely horrible happens. But you're going to have to read to find out, because it is a little bit different than the original story. And the ending is very different from the original story. So if you like spooky stories, if you like stories that have so many deep hidden themes and just will make you think about this for like long after you're done reading it, this one is phenomenal. The Weight of Blood. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's so, so good. Oh, I can't even handle that. And that was just book number 4, right? We still got 3 to go. So what is book number 3? So book number 3 is The Sunbearer Trials by Aiden Thomas. I loved this book, and it was one of my most eagerly anticipated books coming out in 2022, and it did not let me down. Aiden Thomas, this is his 3rd book. It is my favorite of them all so far. He wrote Cemetery Boys, and then Lost in the Neverwoods, and just his writing is phenomenal and just absolutely amazing. So this is like a cross between, and I hate to do this because I don't want to be that person that compares everything to this, but I'm going to, because it's really what it reminds me of. If you took like the Percy Jackson archetype and mixed it up with the Hunger Games. And I hate comparing things to the Hunger Games because everybody does it when they're trying to sell a book, and this one though is very similar to that. So we've got mythology, okay? So we've got Mexican mythology mixed with a deadly competition. What? So absolutely crazy. Okay, so what's going on here? So basically in this world, every 10 years, the light of the sun has to be renewed. And because of that, so that Sol can rejuvenate the world and fight the obsidian gods. So how do they renew the light every 10 years? They have a competition where 10 of the best students have to fight and compete with each other through all different types of challenges. And the winner, the person who comes out as number 1 in this challenge, gets to have the honor of renewing the world, renewing the light. The last place person is sacrificed. So there are some big stakes going on in this story. So Teo is the main character here. He is the son of a god, a bird god, right? So he's got these wings, and he is just such an amazing, amazing character. I loved him so, so much. So one of the other aspects of this book that I love is that he is trans. He's a trans man. I love that. It's told in such a beautiful, beautiful way. Fantastic. Absolutely love this so much. So he gets selected to be part of this competition, which he absolutely cannot believe because he's not a very good student. He doesn't train very hard. And all these other gold type students have been training for this their whole lives. And he is a jade student. So he is very nervous, not sure what's going to happen. So this is the story of that competition, the things that happened during it. If you love stories about different mythologies and cultures and folklore, you will love this book. If you love stories that have to do with competitions, especially ones that might end in death, you will love this book. If you love stories about just amazing friendships and wonderful dialogue and just fantastically written characters, you will love this book. This book has everything. It is so, so good. And yes, it is going to be a part of a series. The next book, I don't know if we have a release date on it yet, but I'm really eagerly looking forward to it because this was phenomenal. Probably one of the best fantasy books I've read this year, and definitely one of the top 5 books that I read, period, in the YA age group. So give it a shot, especially if you love any of those things that I mentioned. You will love this book. It's very engaging. The Sunbearer Trials. All right, we've only got 2 left. 2 left. Our Crooked Hearts by Melissa Albert. Now, I love Melissa Albert. Melissa Albert has written Tales of the Hinterland and I can't remember the name of her first book, but it's phenomenal. Everything she writes is really, really good. So this book took me by surprise because although I really expected to like it, I didn't expect to fall in love with it as hard as I did. And I really couldn't even tell you what I loved about it the most, other than it was just really fun to read. So I might be showing my age a little bit, but if you've seen the movie The Craft, back from the 90s, which is like basically the story of these young teenage girls who get involved in witchcraft, and basically one of them goes a little bit nuts and then they have to stop her. It sort of reminded me like that. It has vibes like that. So there's a lot of things about this book to absolutely love. Basically, it starts with this girl named Ivy who is driving home from a party with her boyfriend, who sucks, by the way. And he almost hits this girl standing in the middle of the road. They follow her into the woods because they're not sure if she's like hurt or something. And she's just acting very creepily. And somehow, when the boyfriend says Ivy's name, she like recognizes it and seems to recognize her, which is very creepy. When she gets home and she kind of tells her mom about it, her mom completely freaks out. And not just like a normal mom freak out, but like she is very scared. So something is going on there. So now the thing about this book, one of the things that's really, really interesting, is it goes back and forth into time. So we have the first storyline, which is this storyline with Ivy trying to figure out what is going on with this girl who she is now seeing everywhere. And creepy things are starting to happen, and trying to figure out what is going on with that. But now you're also getting the storyline of her mom when she was a teenager. When Ivy's mom was a teenager, she had a very small group of friends, Fiona and this other girl, who got involved in witchcraft. So it is 2 different storylines happening at the same time. So you've got this one in the present with Ivy and the one in the past with her mom. And as they both continue down the line, you start to figure out how they are connected and what is actually going on. And there are a bunch of twists in this book that I did not see coming and were absolutely fantastic. This book is just so well written. It's fun. Like, I just started reading it and I couldn't put it down. I'm like, this book is amazing. It's just so fun and cool. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Absolutely great. Number 2, Our Crooked Hearts. And I also just want to show you guys real quick, because I think you will appreciate this. I have a special edition copy of this book as well, and I just want to show off how absolutely beautiful it is. Look at this, with the spray painted edges, with the quote on the back with the rabbits, and the quote says, "We didn't wonder where the magic came from or why it worked. We never asked ourselves, is this ours to take?" So if you love stories about really tight friendships, about magic, about if you like unraveling mysteries, you will love this book, Our Crooked Hearts. All right, so now we're down to the wire. We've got our number 1 book of the year for the YA category. Can you guess what it is? What do you think? It is We Deserve Monuments by Jas Hammons. Now, this book actually threw a wrench in my plans and my lists for the year because I read it in December. And I read it because I was starting to read all these amazing things about this book and hearing all these things. And I was like, well, all right, I'll give it a shot. It's December. I'm already starting to make my best of the year lists. You know, I don't think it's going to matter too much if I throw one more in here that, you know, might be really good. Maybe we'll add it to something. Well, not only did this book completely blow me away, but it jumped to the front of the top of this list, and I had to rearrange everything all around because I had the list sort of figured out in my head until this book blew it all out of the water. This book, hands down, #1 best YA book that I've read in 2022. It's just so, so good. There are so many different things going on with this book. If you like books that are contemporary fiction, if you like books that are mysteries, if you like books that deal with race, if you like books that deal with really pertinent issues and friendships and romance, this book has literally everything. So it is about a girl named Avery who is having to go and spend the summer with her parents down in Georgia to deal with her mom, basically her grandmother. So her mom's mother is very sick. She's dying of cancer. Avery doesn't even really remember her because she hasn't seen her for most of her life since she was really little. And now she is being transported from Washington, D.C., where she loves her life, has, you know, wonderful set of circumstances there. And she's moving down to Georgia for the whole summer with her parents to deal with this grandmom who is not the nicest woman in the world. And the relationship between the grandmom and the mom is very fraught with tension. We'll just leave it at that. So this book, like I said, it's not even very long. It's not even very long, but for the amount of stuff that is in this book, once she gets down there, she starts to try to get a relationship with her grandmom. She tries to help her mom and her grandmom heal their relationship. But she's also now uncovering a lot of stuff about the racist past of this town and how her family, specifically her family, falls into that. So you've got the historical aspect, you've got the mystery aspect. Her grandfather died a really long time ago, and she is trying to figure out the mystery that is behind that. She befriends these two girls that she was not expecting to befriend, and their friendship is a really big part of the story as well. This, like I said, this book has everything. It's got a little bit of romance. It's got a really good story of friendship. It's got a phenomenal story of family and healing family wounds and trauma. It deals with race. It deals with history. There's the mystery, like I said. It's just amazing. And it's really well written. It's just so well written. A beautiful book. I blew through it. Could not believe that I had waited so long to read it. It's perfect. This book is absolutely perfect. And I loved everything about it. And it's so, so good. We Deserve Monuments by Jas Hammons. #1 YA book of the year. Well, that's what we've got for you guys today. I hope that these books sound amazing and that you're really excited to read them. And like I said, maybe there are books that you read that you thought were the best books of the year that you're like, oh, I can't believe that she didn't talk about them. Well, like I said, shoot me an email. Come to the library. Talk to me about it. I want to hear your thoughts on this. Next week, we're going to be talking about the 5 runners-up. So maybe the book that you read that you really loved hasn't appeared yet this week, but it will next week. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching, friends. Please give this video a like. I really appreciate it. And have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day.